Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us for our Tuesday weather update for January the 24th. And as we head towards the big Auckland anniversary weekend, we are dealing with some rain on the way from a weak low pressure system that is coming out of the tropics. It's this one just here, and it's very slow moving as it heads towards New Zealand. Now we've got on the map today different colors, obviously, and this is showing the UV index, the UV rays. What you see in this sort of circular blob here of pink-purple shading is the extreme side of the UV rays. So this is where you get the highest risk of skin damage or sunburn, is in this sort of circular blob here. Now, as the Earth turns this way, as we go across the rest of this afternoon and evening, that moves across towards Australia and over towards the Indian Ocean and Africa. But this is the blob of UV rays that we have to be careful about at this time of the year. Now, cloud cover means some areas here in yellow going up around the country are showing that the sun might be a bit blocked by thick cloud. So when it's really thick cloud and heavily raining, you don't have to worry so much about the UV rays, but you can still get sunburnt through cloud. There's cloudy weather right across New Zealand at the moment, and look at Australia, the extreme UV rays from the top all the way to the bottom. So this is a significant time of year for that skin damage side of things. And as we head towards the autumn equinox, which is another 2 months away, when we reach that point, that's when this blob of UV ray heads further up towards the northern hemisphere, and we kind of curve off away from it. So this is the main time of year to be taking the care of your skin if you're outdoors. Let's have a look now at what is going on, because we've got low pressure out in the Tasman and a nor'easter between it. This is what we call a squash zone, with a normal storm windy all the way around that middle part of the low. This low is very weak, so it's not stormy at all. But where you start to get sort of rougher weather, more severe weather risks are in this squash zone between the low and the high. This is a very strong high pushing back. Now, as we go through Wednesday afternoon, you're seeing downpours here around the North Island, so maybe the chance of a thunderstorm in inland southern parts of Waikato and Bay of Plenty, Central Plateau, and then later on it moves down towards places like Manawatu and Wanganui. So those areas are definitely a little bit more exposed. Could be a downpour or two around the Farewell Spit, Nelson Ranges area as well. Dry across Australia, the usual downpours at this time of the year up around Darwin. Now, as we move through into Thursday, that nor'easter in the North Island starts to pick up a little bit more. It's not major, but it's just going to be a little windier, and the rain is where the worst of the wind is. So those two kind of go together with these squash zone events. So a little bit windy around Northland, dry elsewhere on Thursday, bit of rain on the west coast though, and we've got a bit of a storm down here, which is going to send up a cold front. And you'll see that cold front on Friday, moving into Southland, Otago, Fiordland, those areas. Temperatures drop. A little bit of rain, not a huge amount though, and then dry the further north you go until you reach this next system. So here on Friday, that is the wettest day by the looks of it. So not great news if you're heading away for the long weekend early, but if you're heading away at the normal time, then that's probably not a bad forecast, but it will be a bit rubbish at the end of the day, let's be honest. If you're heading away in traffic, you're trying to leave the main centres, Friday afternoon in the rain may not be great. Now, it will be drier, as I say, onto the eastern side, but that changes as we go into the weekend. On Saturday, the high out to the east moves a little bit further to the east, and therefore the rain may well slide over towards Gisborne and East Cape and the eastern side of Bay of Plenty. If it does do that, that will clear things up further to the north, and you'll end up with an afternoon thunderstorm or a downpour because it's humid and you've got low pressure and not a lot of wind, and you've got the hot afternoon sun. So it is not bad weather for everybody, but it's a messy forecast to try and completely lock in. The rain fades the further down you go, and it's obviously a settled day on Saturday in the South Island. Now on Sunday, the high kind of grows a wee bit and pushes back, and that sort of sends some of that weather backwards again, but the low that was responsible for it is basically gone now. Bit of a trough, pothole in the sky if you like, that's about it. So nor'easters, and while it looks like it's raining everywhere, this is more of a risk of showers. So you might just have drizzle and a few showers, especially in the morning, and then maybe even into the afternoon the sun starts to come back out, because on Monday it is much clearer, although the nor'easters are still a little bit annoying. They're probably more annoying than they are problematic and causing problems with trees down and things like that. I don't think it'll be quite that windy, but it is getting up towards that point in some exposed areas. But you can keep up to date with the forecast that we've got over on our website, ruralweather.co.nz. This is it. Because if you're heading away this weekend, here's an example, Hahei over in Waikato, Coromandel Peninsula, you can see at a glance, Friday's the main wet day. And Saturday starts to taper off. Sunday, you can see here in the grey, by lunchtime, halfway during the day, the sun starts to come back out, and Monday is much sunnier, much drier. So you can go to Rural Weather for all the campsites or even the suburbs of all the cities across the country to work out when the worst of the weather may be over the next few days and when the better weather starts to return. One last thing, our next Climate Watch video is this time next week, and I can tell you now that the weather pattern we've got at the moment is looking likely to linger with us for at least the first week of February. So that means more nor'easters, more afternoon downpours, especially inland, and the South Island still leaning drier than average, with a couple of those cooler southerlies still coming into the south. But we'll update you again properly on that one next week. That is all from me for today. We'll see you again tomorrow with our next update. See you Wednesday.